Hi, it's Laura from Dancing with Ease, Body Brain Balance, here with day 208 of Strange and Interesting Times. And today I was talking about what happens when you get off track 50 times in your day. So, what I would say is only 50 times? Hooray! Because we can get off track in an instant, just in a flash. The phone can ring and we can look at the phone and it's somebody we don't want to talk to, and that can push us off track. We can drop something, getting something. You know how stuff gets condensation on it and you bring it out of the refrigerator and it's slippery? I keep a lot of stuff in jars, especially like my milk and that kind of stuff, because it stays fresh longer in the jar. But you just really can't be whipping that right out of the refrigerator because things happen. A lot of times, hey, Mary, great to see you. A lot of times my jar will start to slip and I'll grab it. But in that grabbing, in the catching of it to keep it from falling down and breaking and making a milk spill on my kitchen floor, I lose track of the use of myself. I frighten myself thinking I'm going to drop this thing and make a mess. And I react in that fear, and I actually succeed by stopping spilling the thing, which is great. And then I concede for myself that I squished myself all into a knot in order to do that. And one of the funniest things is if I drop something heavy, like a can of beans or corn or something sharp, a knife, my body is programmed that it's like it instantly is picked up and moved back a foot. It's like I just jump backwards. The thing is falling. Some piece of me knows that it's heavy, and if it hits my foot, it's going to probably break a bone. And without thinking, my whole self is just back, and the thing hits the floor. Now, if it happens to be a bottle of olive oil, I did that once in Arizona. Oh man, that was a mess to clean up. But you just clean it up, right? So right there, I just described 3 or 4 times when I might get off track. Now, the thing about jumping back, that one is on track. That is me not interfering with my body taking care of itself. And that's super cool when that happens. But the other times, like we're driving and somebody might honk really close to you and they're not even honking at you, but that feeling where you just jerk, that's off track. What else can be off track? Well, you can make the mistake of looking at the news app on your phone, and your brain, as soon as I look at that news app on my phone, my brain is 5 miles down the road of rah, 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 rah. I can't cry over spilled olive oil. Actually, everybody has these great reflexes if we don't interfere. So the beautiful thing about interfering is that when we notice we interfere with how we're doing, by getting off track, by gripping, by jumping, by freezing, by shrinking, by getting angry, by overreacting to a situation, whenever we recognize that and we choose to pause and say, where's a little bit of ease in my system? What happens is we're training those reflexes to come back into the forefront of our brain and our body, so that our brain and our body begin to work more like they were designed and less like we have habituated them. So one of the really easy ways to see how you have habituated your body is if you carry a heavy purse or a backpack on one shoulder, or a computer bag, and you always put it on the same shoulder. Odds are that shoulder is going to be down a little bit, lower than the other shoulder. That this arm that picks up that bag is going to be a little bit stronger than the other arm. So because I was dancing, and one of the things about dancing is that you try to have your body equally balanced, not to have a dominant side, a favorite side. Now everybody does. and you have things that are just really easy on one side and not so easy on the other side. But when you notice that, what you do is you try to even it out. And athletes do this too, except for like pitchers pitch always with the one good arm. And I think guys who do punting for football, I think they always kick with the same leg. I would have to find a football player and ask him. But in dance, you kick with both legs, not at the same time, or you fall on your behind. But you turn to the right and you turn to the left. You leap to the right and you leap to the left. And so you are always working in dance to equalize the functionality of your body from one side to the other. Now, at some point, I was thinking to myself, this is kind of crazy because outside we look symmetrical, right? And we say we have a right hand and a left hand and a right foot and a left foot and all of this stuff, and one eye and the other eye and everything. But when you go inside your body, the heart is on one side. The liver's on the other side, I think. Well, I have to go look at my anatomy again. But the organs are placed around in your body cavity where they fit, or where it seemed like they fit when we were being designed. And so the inside isn't the same. So when we go to balance, like on one foot, we have certain organs lined up over that foot. And on the other foot, we have different organs lined up on that foot. When I figured this out from taking my anatomy class in college, I was like, well, no wonder I can have a harder time balancing on one side than the other. It was a great relief to understand, but it took me a few more years of experimenting with my body, studying dance, and practicing to realize at a very fundamental level that what worked on one side wasn't going to work on the other side the same way. I could balance on both legs. I could do the shapes on both sides, standing on my right foot, standing on my left foot. But the way all of my body parts had to move to make the visible shape on the outside, it was different from one side to the other. So this is what I mean too when I say that having a body is an adventure and an exploration and a constant, fun, interesting discovery. The other thing is we have two of some things, like two kidneys, and we can function with only one. A friend of mine, she's 80 something, 82, 3, 4. And she just had a kidney taken out. And, we think, oh no, we need all of our parts. But this kidney wasn't functioning really well. And she feels much, much better because when something in our system isn't functioning well, it drags everything down. So this is the same thing with extra tension in our system. So you probably, how it, like if you have a headache, if you wake up in the morning with a headache, which I sometimes do, like a sinus headache, if the heater runs all night, I hate that. And I wake up with a headache in the morning, and then everything seems to take me twice as long. Making the coffee and counting the cups of the tablespoons of coffee, it just everything is harder because the excess tension anywhere, which we have talked about probably almost 208 times already, excess tension anywhere is excess tension everywhere. And so when we have something wrong and we're thinking about that thing that's wrong, we're using up a lot of energy over there on this thing that's not right. So what I do now is when I notice if I have a headache or something, I say, where feels better than my headache? Could be my fingers, could be my eyelashes, could be my knees. And then the things shift and I'm paying attention to what's working well. And when we pay attention to what's working well, more things go well. So this is like my friend's system. When the one kidney was in there not working well, it was causing extra tension in her body, trying to process the waste through her system. And it was slowing everything down and making everything work harder. So even though the kidney's gone, everything's working better because it's all easier. This is amazing. This is healing. And this is what I say when I say that healing happens, and it happens differently for every person. And when Mary was here, she said there are like signposts on the healing journey, and that everybody doesn't do them in the same order, and everybody doesn't take the same amount of time. And so if you get off track 50 times a day, you just bring yourself back 50 times a day, and you celebrate, because what happened is that you taught your body how to right itself, how to return to ease and balance and flow in the midst of falling off balance, and you come back. The same thing is like in dancing. I used to hold my breath when I wanted to balance. I thought it was a still point, like a frozen still point, like a photograph. Because when you look at a photograph of somebody on balance, there they are, bing, and it looks like it's stuck in time. But real balance, I'll try and find this. There's a beautiful, beautiful clip from a dancer dancing in Sleeping Beauty, and she's standing on one leg on point, and the prince is holding her hand, and she has the other hand up, and she has like 5 princes that she's going to pick one of these 5 princes to marry or something. But the one prince is there, and then she lets go of his hand, and the next prince comes up and she takes his hand. But what you see is she's not still. She lets go of the hand, and she has to adjust, because now she has 2 hands up instead of 1 hand up. And it's just these beautiful little micro shifts. I'll try and find that and post it, because it was really, really, really beautiful. But when I was watching that, I'm going, oh, balance is a dynamic, ever-changing thing, just like our lives. We sometimes think, well, if I could just do this, then my life would be fine and it would be all worked out. Wrong. If I could just do this, I just did this. That's it. That worked. And it's great. And when we pay attention to the things that work, more things happen that are easier, but we aren't really able to do this thing where if I could just get this one thing right, it's going to fix everything else, except the one thing of ease. And then what I would tell you is this open idea to discovering what happens when you get off balance and coming back, how to come back, and knowing, practicing this off and back, getting back on track, off, getting back on track. That one thing will make the whole rest of your life flow smoothly. So I was thinking about that today, and then I found this leaf. Let's see if I can get this leaf. This leaf has this little gold center, which reminded me of Mary's talk on the healing path about healing with gold. And right in the center, I'm sure you can't see this, but it's like lime green, right where the yellow touches the kind of gray-green leaf is lime green. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. And this, I was like, wow, this is so pretty. I don't know how long it will last. It's already dried out. If you get a new leaf that has just fallen and it's still bendable, you can not fold it, but you can press it between book pages, and it will press flat and last a long time. But this one is already cracked. So I'm just going to leave it over here where it's really pretty to remind me that we're all healing all the time. And that for me, the ability to get back on track, it doesn't matter how far off track I get. As soon as I recognize it, I have skills to help myself get back on track. So if you'd like to know more about that, I've pressed a lot of flowers. I still have flowers that I find from 10 or 15 years ago. I think I have some from when I went to college here, more than 10 or 15 years ago. But they're wonderful. And sometimes I put the pressed flowers in a book of poems or a book I've read that has important quotes. And then in the page with the good quote is the folded leaf or flower petal or flower. And then when you come back to it, it's like, oh, I put this here. And then I read the pages again and I revisit the thing that was important to me. So I'll put in the comments the link to my very fun project called Get Back on Track. It's a really simple way to try this process out and have a session, figure out where you are, figure out where you think you're getting off track, and really apply the process of getting back on track specifically to you and your situation, so that you could start to use this tool every day to make your life flow better and be just a little bit happier, a little bit easier, a little bit calmer, and a whole lot more joyful. So take good care and have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And let's see, I think I have something happening on Monday for us, which will be different, but it'll be fun. So I'll talk to you soon. Take care.